Do you feel like that statement rings true for Khamzat?
Well, before we get started, how much to knock his ass out?
You gotta ask that. I can DM him, but
you know. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Brick Brother Podcast. If you're new to our channel, man, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Make sure y'all hit that bell for notifications, man. But lock in with us, man, for this episode.
All right, we got some big fights coming up. Coming up next, we'll have that fight night with Henry Cejudo and Song Yadong. What are your thoughts about that fight?
I think it's a dope fight, right? And it seems like with Henry, he's still taking on these, hard challenges, obviously, because he's still a ranked opponent. But that ain't no easy fight, man, with Song Yadong. So I feel like with that fight, it's really gonna show, if Henry still got it, right? If he still bought it, or Song Yadong gets to move up, up the rankings and get closer to what he's been dreaming about this whole time, and that's becoming the world champion. So I'm excited to see that fight.
Yeah, Henry, obviously, as good as they come. You think about some of the title, two division champion. Song Yadong, explosive, a lot of power. Coming off a loss against, I want to say,
Peter Yan, right?
Yeah, Pereira.
Mm-hmm.
But how I think about Pereira. I think he's as good as anybody in the division. I think that him and Merab having a rematch would be really interesting. He's done well against pretty much everybody in the division except except Merab and maybe a guy or two I can't think off the top of my head. But so for Song, that nothing bad by losing to somebody as great as Pereira, in my opinion. But I guess my thing is, Henry being 38 years old, we get the Henry of old. Obviously taking a long way off him, taking time outside the sport, and developing everything that he has outside of the cage. Has that costed him any skill, any ability, any talent? Right. as a combat sports athlete,
No, but and I feel like Henry Cejudo, bro, like even though he took some good time off, he been putting in that work, right? I don't know if you keep track, right? But Henry Cejudo, he just posts a lot of stuff with his training, man, and giving good technique advice and stuff like that.
Like the gazelle punch,
and yeah, the gazelle punch, right?
Yeah.
Did a great job demonstrating that. But shout out to them because on the pound for pound, I would expect Usman to see his brother, going out there and fighting again. That it give Usman some motivation, man, to come back out in the cage. So, but shout out to Henry Cejudo, man, because I think this is a good fight for him, and if he's able to beat somebody like this and who's motivated, man, to become a world champion and who's a big threat, it puts Henry back into that conversation, man, getting that belt.
No, and I have to give him a lot of credit because this fight does a lot for him in the sense that if you want to be a champion, you'll have to beat somebody as good as Song Yadong. So he'll get to see exactly where he's at. And I think he said something about, he wants to see if he can make another run at the title.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't just want to fight for money. He's trying to fight at the highest level. Him being an Olympic gold medalist, him going on, Triple C, all that stuff. But he wants to fight for championships, and I have to give him credit for that. This isn't an easy fight by any means. A guy who I think he still trains with Team Alpha Male. A lot of power in his hands, really good grappler, a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, this just shows what he's looking for in his MMA career. I guess my question, so do you think at this age Henry can get back to a title?
I mean, like I said, the best way to find that out is seeing my man step into that cage, because I don't want to speak on somebody's downfall because like we said in the last episode, we seen what Jared Cannonier was able to do against RoboCop, right? And with Jared Cannonier being 41 years old, like, bro, I mean, my man's still looking good, right? And still fighting at a very high level. So, we'll see, man. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I think the thing about it, the difference between Jared Cannonier and Henry Cejudo, for some reason, the smaller fighters, age just plays such a factor. Once guys get really over the age of 35, you start seeing a pretty good decline. As great as Henry is, I would love to see him fight as Henry of old. I think maybe he could be Song. That's a really tough test. But getting back to a title and how Merab is looking and given their first fight, I think that's going to be very, very difficult for him. But what I will say is when he fought Demetrius Johnson the second time, night and day, I don't think anybody prepares better than Henry Cejudo. I don't think anybody's going to outwork him. But that age is just a large factor. On that card, you have Brendan Allen fighting Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. That's a banger in my opinion. I think that's a great fight. What do you think?
No, I think that's a great matchup, right? Even though Brandon Allen coming off a loss against Nasruddin, right, and Anthony Hernandez coming on a great dominant performance, I think this is going to be a crazy fight because both of these guys are finishers, and both of these guys got gas tanks. And just the high level, grappling between these two. Obviously, like I said, you always say before, when you got two grapplers, man, they go out there and be strikers. But I feel like both of these guys are both complete fighters too. So even though they have a high level jits game and grappling game, I feel like they striking is just as good. So I'm intrigued to see a great MMA match between these two. Man, it's hard to kind of pick a winner on this one.
Yeah, that's really tough. I just think it's a great fight, like you said, very well rounded. The major factor in this fight, well, Brandon Allen is a really good, really well rounded mixed martial artist, but will he be able to do something about that the cardio output of Anthony Hernandez? He just melts guys, similar to Merab. Guys think that they can keep up with the pace, but when they're faced with having to do that for 25 minutes, it's just it's a daunting task. Well, it'd be 15 minutes because it's a 3-round fight, but still, guys who can push that pace, it's just tough. When you think they're fading or you're at equal level, they're still just as fresh as the fight started. So I think that'd be the toughest challenge for Brandon Allen. But I think skill wise, he can hang with. He can match up well with anybody at middleweight. So I'm very intrigued for that fight.
Well, I guess those were all the fights, man, because they all been canceled after that, bro. That's it. You only got those 2 fights in Seattle. But ain't that crazy though? All the matchups that been canceled on there.
Oh, I didn't even see. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, 6 fights been canceled on that one card.
Was the Urseg and
Shoot, we can look at the whole list.
I think that one was on there, but they got their own fight.
Yeah, they didn't have 6 fights canceled on that card alone, which is wild,
crazy.
Right? Yeah. But yeah, who else is on that card now that we talking about it? You got Todd.
I think you got.
Here we go. I got you. We got to get the Wi-Fi going in this month. So look at all these fights, man. That was just canceled. UFC Seattle. Never seen that before.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dominic Cruz got injured.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened between them two. Yeah, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Hey, but at least you got those 2 bangers on the card left. Yeah, go ahead though.
And then after that, fight night 253, you got Manel Kape fighting Asu Almabayev. That's a banger. Manel Kape, he's fighting the same card you fought Kobe at. He looked great that night. What are your thoughts about that fight?
Well, this is another switch up too, right? With Manel, because Manel was supposed to fight Royval, right? And who's he fighting now? I'm sorry.
Almabayev.
I don't know much about him. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I like Manel, and I like his fighting style. I like how he come. But with this other guy, I just don't, I don't know much about.
He's a real good grappler, man. Okay. He's been extremely, extremely dominant in all his performances. I want to say undefeated. Don't quote me on that in the UFC, but he's been very, very dominant. Manel Kape, but he's so explosive. That distance management, the striking, no slouching the grappling himself, but he's just really hard to get a hold of and keep on track with. He looked great in Tampa, so it's gonna be tough. Obviously, it's a big step up in competition.
Right.
For Almabayev.
And then you talking about short notice. I mean, not too crazy, but it's still short notice, man, for a killer like Manel. So yeah.
And then the co-main event on that one. All right, now you gonna talk some shit. So
what you talking about?
Cody Brundage versus Julia Marquez. That's the co-main event.
I won't talk shit.
You know you want to.
No, I ain't gonna talk no shit. I'm not gonna talk no shit. I ain't know Julia Marquez was still signed with the UFC. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. So I'm excited that he has a co-main. You know what I'm saying? I think Cody Brundage, that's a good fight for him, like for both fighters. So it should be fun to watch.
Why you say that about Julia Marquez?
He didn't got spun around a couple times. UFC be quick to cut dudes, brother. So for the Cuban missile, what they call
Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah. Well, missile. But regardless, though, I feel like with him, he is an exciting fighter. Regardless if it go his way or don't go his way. It's always a fun fight to watch. So with him going up against Cody Brundage, it's just a good stylistic fight, to be made.
No, I agree. I think both guys come to fight. Both guys do finish a lot of fights, whether they're getting finished or not, and that makes for an exciting fight. Sort of a matchmaker's dream. So I have no ill will against them. You try to start.
I ain't starting. No, you brought it up.
Because I know you for to talk some shit. It's okay. And then obviously you got UFC 313. You got Ankalaev versus
hold
Pereira.
on, before we
Go
move
ahead,
on,
go ahead.
wait. We got to shout out Charles. Charles on that same card with Manil.
Oh, for real?
Yes, sir. He fighting a newbie, some foreigner. I don't know why Charles.
He always got to fight a foreigner. Why they do him like that?
Either he got to be from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, one of them stands.
England?
Yeah.
He never fought an American. That's wild.
But regardless, though, I think Charles, man, is definitely going to show out in this one. I don't know how, early they got him on the card, but I believe if Charles goes out there and do what he do best, right? And this would be a fight, winning streak once he gets this one. Like, Charles got to make some noise on this next one, right? And I ain't talking about just in the fight performance. I'm talking about on that mic, because I really feel like where the flyweight division is, you can really kind of level yourself up, man, and put yourself in a position where you can fight for the title next. And with Charles having such a success that he's having right now, he got to use that mic time appropriately to put himself in a position, to fight those top-level fighters, So really shout out to Charles, man, and I can't wait for my man to go out there and do what he do best.
No, of course. I think it's a division with a lot of talented fighters, but not that many stars. And I think Charles Johnson has that star potential, really good personality, exciting fighter. I think, like you said, just let people know what time it is. And, the performance speaks for itself, his last 4 performances especially. But, just having a mic presence and calling a shot afterwards. I think he's the dark horse in the division, and I think it's going to be a good night for him. But after that, 313, you have Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. I've been waiting for that one. What are your thoughts? Just initial kind of look at that.
I love the matchup, bro. I think it's going to be one of Pereira's biggest challenges, right? Ankalaev, Ankalaev definitely has been, really working hard, man, putting himself in a position where, he hungry and he really want to prove to the world that, he a world champion. I know it's not his last fight, but with that fight that he had with, who I'm talking about?
Pereira's fight?
No, not Pereira. No. I'm talking about Ankalaev when he fought my man Jan.
Jan Blachowicz, yeah.
Jan Blachowicz, right? Even though it was a draw, right? I think for me, Ankalaev won that fight, and I feel like with that being said, he felt like he got robbed, right, in that situation. And you just see it, right? Just the work that he been putting in, at Extreme, just nonstop, putting in the time that he needs to. And you see Alex Pereira, he out there traveling the globe, he going to the Drake concerts, he going to the NBA games, he showing them all over the world. I really feel like for me, he not putting in that same type of time as Ankalaev, and that might be Alex Pereira's downfall, unfortunately.
This is one I'm really excited for one major reason. We get to see finally him against a stylistic opponent that should cause him some trouble. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he was saying, if Pereira wins this one, you got to give him his flowers and give him his credit for being one of the greatest in the world. And not that people don't look like that, but I think there's one glaring gap, right? Mm-hmm. We haven't seen him fight a really tough grappler, somebody who's a stylistically less advantageous matchup. Khalil Roundtree gave him some problems, but we knew it would be in Alex Pereira's court as far as what type of striking, that he likes to do and what type of fight he likes to fight. We knew that Khalil would kind of be a favorable matchup. Even saying before the fight, I won't take him down. Yeah. I'm a man of my word. I won't take him down, which I wouldn't agree to that at all.
Now, because you said that, Ankalaev did kind of mention that he want to do the same thing.
He full of shit.
And I don't know why these 205s. But like you said, he has the strengths and he has obviously the ability to put Alex Pereira on his back. And with that being said, it's just like, why play with him on the feet? And you've seen what Alex Pereira been able to do to Jamal, to Yuri, to now Khalil Roundtree. Don't play with it, right? I feel like he has a great route to victory if he takes the fight where it needs to be taken, right? Now, we'll see what Alex Pereira been working on, right? If he gets taken down and if he's able to get back to his feet. But like I said, with everything that he been doing, it seemed like he been a little bit more focused on the boxing game, right? And too much focused on the entertainment business. And I really feel like, for me, in my personal opinion, if Ankalaev goes out there and strategically beat him how he should be beat, it shouldn't even be close.
No, I agree. And I think there's a difference between wanting to strike with somebody and then saying, I'm not going to wrestle at all. Mm. Like, I think if Ankalaev is going to be successful, he has to strike with him.
Mix it up. Yes. Yeah.
You know, I think there's this kind of misnomer when you want to go against a striker, in my opinion, especially a really good one. One of the things that we talk about all the time, this little insight, you have to show them that you're very comfortable, that there is no fear on the feet. And as soon as they feel comfortable and think it's going to be a striking match,
don't give them too much game.
That's when I'm going to take you down.
Yeah.
So if I'm Magomed Ankalaev, I'm going to punch Alex Pereira right in his face. I'm going to get right in boxing range. I'm going to hit him as fast and as quick as possible. Go to the body, mix it up. You know, one of the things I think a lot of people make the mistake of when they go against really elite strikers, they always fear the one, right? They always fear one. Like, you're going to get hit with a jab, he's going to knock you out. And I understand with Pereira, but that's not usually how he gets it done. It's usually after him collecting data, him going through setups. He's not somebody who typically finishes guys extremely early. Sean Strickland, yes, but if you think about him being Israel Adesanya, he has success, it's a fight, then he gets knocked out. My point of that is, if you mix it up early, right when he plants his feet, and Pereira, we know he's going to plant his feet, that's when I'd be looking to wrestle. So I think there's a difference between saying I'm going to abandon the thing that I do best versus I'm just not going to strike at all.
All right. So with all that being said, what's your pick, man?
I take Ankalaev. I think Ankalaev is smart enough to not do that. I'll say this right now. I don't know Ankalaev personally, but for him to say he's not going to grapple, if that's what he said, it's foolish. You want to be world champion or not? And I think that's my thing with Khalil. Yeah. Be a man of your word, but why did you make that promise in the first place? He's the champion, and I think that if Khalil would have mixed in the takedown too, he has a great chance of winning. You know, he was having a lot of success with the striking. He did a lot of things that, you know, we talked about, you know, like game planning for Pereira. If you were to, obviously not you, but if somebody was to fight him, how would you attack it? We just kind of, we have fun. We talk about fighter strengths and weaknesses off camera. You know, I don't like to do that on cam. But why wouldn't you mix in the takedown? Why wouldn't you just see what that has? Maybe he's the greatest guy when it comes to wrestling defense. He has the best sprawl in the world. Maybe he has a great guillotine. If I don't know it, I'm finna find out.
100%. Yeah, right. Don't go to a man's strength, right? Trying to find some holes. Right? We gonna take you where the unknown is, right? And try to figure it out then. But just like you said, I think Ankalaev should get the win. It makes the most sense, but obviously, Sean.
That power is the great equalizer. You know?
Sir. Yes, sir.
It is what it is. And then you have Dan Hooker versus Justin Gaethje. That's a banger. That's like a fan favorite for me.
Yeah. Man, somebody gonna die. Somebody gonna die in that fight, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. But we love it, right? Because both of these guys, stylistically, how they come, bro, is 120% nonstop, bro. And there's no quitting either one of them. So I really feel like with this type of stylistic matchup, man, you can't help but make it an entertaining fight, man, and be tuned in for every second, right? But I believe that if Justin Gaethje, switches it up, which we know he ain't finna do that.
Never.
He ain't never finna do that. But I believe if he just shows a little something, right? The inside game, especially when he fought Chandler. Like, I love the inside boxing from Justin Gaethje. I believe if he does that more, if he chop at them legs early on Hooker, man, I can see Justin Gaethje getting his hand raised. But Hooker, bro, he ain't no slouch, bro, especially on the feet, man. And he ain't no punk either. So, you've seen the whoopings he done took, right? And still done came back, and won some fights. So, I'm excited to see this.
I'm trying to say this in a very respectful. Two guys who I think put the crowd ahead of their own personal MMA IQ, right? And for the fans, that's fantastic. And I'm excited to watch because I'm just going to be a fan of this one. I don't have a horse in the race. But I think the difference in this fight, and not picking a side because I'll give a prediction, I'm kind of thinking through, but Dan Hooker is one of those guys who has this magic ability to get guys to fight at his pace, to get guys to fight in kind of reckless abandonment. I think of Justin, you see sometimes Trevor Whitman say to him, hey, calm it down, give me 50%, put 25% on this or whatever. I think Dan Hooker is the perfect dance partner to get him to go at 100 the whole entire time. I don't think he'll be able to. I think Dan has that, like I said, the special ability to rope people into really entertaining, fast-paced, quick fights. You even saw the Jalen Turner fight. Somehow he gets back into the fight after him taking a massive whooping. So if I had to pick somebody by knockout, somebody by now. I don't see this fight. I don't think this fight can go. I don't think this fight can go to the distance. I would go probably with Gaethje because he has more power, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dan Hooker was able to win it. Like if you watch the fight between Hooker and Poirier,
yeah,
both just emptying the clip the entire time, and no quitting Dan Hooker, So
still on business, fail, but still on business. You know what I'm saying?
So either way it goes, it's gonna be a very crazy.
But I want to go back on what you're saying. Like it's also like with the whole Michael Chandler thing. You know what I mean? Because he probably could have already been world champion, but listening to the crowd, listening to the cheers and stuff like that, there's a lot of reward that come with that. But then also there's a lot of collective CTE that come with that. You know what I mean? Because you're trying to fight towards the fans' excitement. And even though that both of these guys, both Justin Gaethje and Dan Hooker, bro, they get paid good because of those. They always going to be a fan favorite in those fights. But you got to think the long route, right? And in my personal opinion, like we said before, if you're doing this, why not try to be a world champion, right? Because I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Dan Hooker spoke about it before, right? He's like, I only did this because I wanted to make a lot of money the way he fought, right? But he was like, now I want to get that belt, right? So with that transition, right, in the mindset, because understand that if you're really trying to get that money, you're really trying to get that bag, that belt is going to bring the biggest, check to you. So with that being said, if you're changing that mentality, I'm talking about Dan Hooker, like he has the ability to put Justin Gaethje in bad positions, right? Staying long, not having that car crash with Justin Gaethje, because even though Max Holloway did a great job, right, and got into the inside pocket with Justin Gaethje, right, it was really the outside fighting that Max Holloway was doing and really putting Justin Gaethje down. Dan Hooker got to fight long, right? Dan Hooker got to use those, those long legs, teeps, right? Shoot leg kicks himself, right? Keep that jab out there. But if he gets into an inside fighting with Justin Gaethje, I can see Justin Gaethje getting that, the better of that. But if Dan Hooker want to be world champion, he got to stay to the outside, bro. And he got to move those feet.
No, I agree. I think one of the things you mentioned too is him seeing a little bit of a change. He looks a lot more tactful fighting Gamrot. A lot more measured. And yeah. I think he'll have to be. And I think before, and I don't know this, but in those fights against some of those great guys that Dan Hooker ended up losing to, you saw him having some trouble, and maybe I think he would feel the skill wise that he needs to be wild and reckless to keep up with some of those guys. But with Justin Gaethje, I don't think that's a smart idea. I think obviously, like you said, keeping the distance, using teeps, being really long, knees up the middle when Justin Gaethje wants to kind of crash. You have elbows for fighting inside, but I think the power really extends to one person, and I think what you said earlier, why would you do that? So for me, for most of the guys who fight like that, I think Justin Gaethje had a lot of success outside the UFC fighting like that, and it never failed him. And I think he just figured he just would never lose like that. Because if you saw some of his fights, I think World Series of Fighting, he fought the exact same way, and he'd be in barn burners and just knock a guy out. Same thing would happen. But I think with Dan Hooker, I think it's hard to say. I think it's a way to make your name. And for most of the guys who fight like that, I won't put Dan Hooker in that category. I think a lot of them accept they won't be champions. I won't say any names.
I got you.
But that's several people who their victory is being exciting. It's not necessarily being I won't say world class, but being the best. Not because they know there's a gap between them and X fighter, this person. But I think Dan Hooker's kind of come to the realization like I can do this and I can be a world champion, and that's what he wants. Because who doesn't want to be the greatest, at their craft?
Yeah, it ain't worth doing it, bro. If you ain't trying to get that belt, that's just my personal opinion.
I agree. So you have,
actually, I'm gonna go off of what Dan Hooker said that he want to be a world champion, and if that's the case, making those adjustments, I'm gonna go with Dan Hooker. But if he get in that car crash with Justin Gaethje, bro, he definitely gonna fall, bro.
Yeah, they both finna crack. So I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
If you were an up-and-coming fighter and you had to choose between going on the Contender Series or going on the Ultimate Fighter, which one would you pick? And why would you prefer whatever particular choice
I got you? That's actually a great question, man. right now, when you look at the Dana White Contender Series, it's been on for about a good little 10, 12 years now. Like they've been thugging for a while, right? Um, I feel like that's the fastest way to get into the house, right? Um, all you gotta go, all you gotta do is go out there and put 120%. You gotta become a Justin Gaethje. You gotta become a Michael Chandler, right? You gotta put it all on the line for the boss to recognize you, to see you, and to get you that contract. But with that being said, on the Ultimate Fighter, right? That's kind of where you can make your brand and make your name and like kind of really show the world like who you are. But because of now and where the situation is, I feel like 10 years ago, I was like, it's a beat like, a different time, a different 10 years ago, I'd be on the Ultimate Fighter. Now it's the Dana White Contender Series, right? To get me straight into the house because not as many people watching the Ultimate Fighter like they used to, right? So I feel like it'll be more challenging trying to get into the house because you got so many other fighters that you competing against in order to get that contract, right? But the reason why it's good is because you building your name and you can almost become an overnight star once you win the show, and then it puts you in a good position, right? Where in your next fight, everybody paying attention to you instead of you starting from scratch, coming off the Dana White Contender Series, and not a lot of people know your name. So I say for right now, for me in this stage, I go on the Dana White Contender Series just to get on the show.
So would you factor in the money that you would potentially make? Because they still offer the 6-figure, right? The 6-figure deal.
I believe so.
For the win for the Ultimate Fighter, and then when you win a Contender Series, you're basically just starting at the bottom.
You starting at the bottom, but you making it to the house. That's it. Like once you're in the UFC, that's the thumbs up, right? Because at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, no matter what that contract say, or no matter how much money you making, they can always cut your ass on one.
That is true,
right? So with that being said, why work that hard, right?
You got to fight multiple fights.
Yeah.
But some guys be on the Contender Series 2-3 times, before they get to
that is true too, right? But for me, because they didn't show out, right? A lot of guys, they thinking just getting a decision or, getting to the judge. They don't want to see that. He wants you to spin somebody around, right? Get a little highlight going. And that's how it's the easiest way to get your contract, bro, is by showing out. So for me, because you know my style, dog. You know what I mean? Like, I got 8 knockouts in the UFC. So somebody that I feel like is I ain't trying to put it like a Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel would have did good on the Ultimate Fighter.
Perfect.
Because he would have had that easy way to kind of transition up into, winning that. But you seen how many times it took him on the Dana White contender? What, two times, 3 times? It took him a good multiple times, bro, to get his contract. But if you got an exciting style, Dana White Contender Series. If you got that boring dull, like, yeah, hope you got personality because that's how you're going to be able to win the show.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of crazy to think about when we first were coming up. That was like really the only way guys knew how to get in the UFC was for the Ultimate Fighter. That's what everybody was trying to do, Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of crazy to think about. But I think one of the things with the Ultimate Fighter 2, why I can kind of understand what you're saying, I'll be watching a fight night or a pay-per-view or something, and they'll be like, oh, this guy won the Ultimate Fighter. He fought in the Ultimate Fighter. I'm like, he fought in what? He fought what? Like, what season? Like, I don't even know the guys who are coming off the Ultimate Fighter.
Right.
They don't look any different. I remember, way back when you saw guys who are Ultimate Fighter winners or, guys,
they become something.
Big time. Like, they would be dominating. They'd be dominating and they would have great performances. But now it's like, I never know when somebody's been on the Ultimate Fighter. Without the pre-fight, of John Anik or Brendan Fitzgerald or whoever tell you they're the Ultimate Fighter, and I think the Contender Series, gives you a more realistic look what it's like to fight in the UFC, and you kind of see if you're at that level or not, quicker. So that I guess that would be my 2 cents on it. Just being in the house for that long, all those cameras, you having to build a personality. You already know people try to do certain things to get under the skin, agitate you. Sometimes it seems like the 2 coaches don't even really care about the fighters. They're just,
right. They there to get a check. Yeah.
They're there to get a check, or they're really just there to promote themselves. And it's really to hell with the fighters. They jaw jacking going between, kind of building their fight, not really worried about the training aspects of the part, whatever. So for me, I don't think I ever could have done Ultimate Fighter. It would have been too much for me. I'd have been annoyed. Especially you lose, you got to sit there. You just got to
wait till the season over. Can't tell nobody. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
What else did I got for you? Oh, so Ilya Topuria. He continues to call out Islam Makhachev. How do you think that fight would go, and do you think that he's done enough? Do you want to see him fight at featherweight, or do you want to see him fight at lightweight?
How many defenses Ilya Topuria got?
Just the one, I think.
Just the one. He need another. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's stop moving up so quick. You know, for all sides, and not even just speaking on Ilya Topuria, but even Islam. Like, why you want to fight another featherweight, right? Stack up your resume, right? Stack up your name, stack up your defenses, in the weight class that you in, and then try to move up. So that's for both guys, I feel like, in my personal opinion. Because if we look at Islam and his defenses, right? He got, 2 title defenses over Alexander Volkanovski, right? And then the other 2 is Dustin Poirier and now, Moicano. So it's just like, bro, build up your defenses real quick, man. And then before you sort of try to, move up, like, you actually got a resume that you took everybody out. You know what I mean? You really showed that you were the definitive champion in the weight class that you in. So I don't want to see it at all. Don't even think about it. Don't even talk about it.
No, that's funny. But for me, the reason why I give Islam his credit on that, he technically has, the most title defenses at lightweight, doesn't he? He has 4, right? No, I know you're doing a little...
Nah, fuck that. Nah, I heard you, but my thing is, it's just like, it's still a 145.
And hold on, but my thing is this, and I agree with you. But besides, what's my guy name?
Moicano?
No, who was supposed to be the co-main event? Armin Sarukian.
Oh yeah.
Great fight. He got to work to get back to his title shot. Who do you want to see Islam fight?
I don't think he got to work.
Dana Matter.
Dana Matter. He was out there trying to show out in front of Nina. You know what I'm saying? They blew his back out. It's crazy. But I feel like for me, Armin ain't got to work. Like, I feel like in my heart of heart, they should have rescheduled. Now I know the UFC don't want to do that, right?
And they're a ton of money.
That's 100%. But not really, because they ain't fit.
But he pulled out like the day before.
I know. So it's already canceled, right? If I was in that position, but I ain't no matchmaking and shit like that, but I would have pushed it back, right? Even though Moicano, he stepped up for that challenge, like there wasn't no fight, bro. Like, so it still wasn't no excitement.
Don't do more money.
I'm just saying though, bro. Like, that nigga go there for a minute, 1 minute. That's all you got. You did trade the whole camp. You could at least pinch the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But regardless, though, I feel like with that being said, like, they can still give Armin that opportunity. They don't have to put him back, right, and fight somebody else.
He not finna get it. So with that being said,
how you know he ain't finna get it? We don't know that.
You right?
We don't know that.
I don't think they're finna get it. Like, from what I can tell, from situations, even when John Jones had that situation with Dan Henderson.
And what happened?
But that's
well,
John.
What happened though? They canceled the whole card. That was great.
That's my point. That's John Jones. You know, I don't. He wasn't happy in that scenario. Armin Sarukian, who's as good as they come, I think he's world class. Can he beat Islam? Who knows? But I think he's the real deal. I think he's a great fighter. Even if he loses to Islam, I think just seeing his skill set, what he did to Beneil Dariush and his fight with Charles Oliveira, even though I had Oliveira winning a fight, but world class, as good as they come. I don't think that fans glamour to watch him fight like they do with John Jones. I don't think fans are just waiting to watch him fight. I think we want to see the fight.
I'm sorry. Like Islam or Armin?
No, like Armin, like John Jones.
Okay.
So when you do the same thing as, the premier, a lot of people's all-time GOAT, best ever to do it, I don't think the result is the same, and I don't think he's gonna get that. I don't think he's gonna get that fight right away. I think he got to fight Charles Oliveira, fight somebody first. I don't think that.
Nah. Go ahead, look.
So my point is, who do you if Armin does not fight Islam, who does Islam fight? Who would you want to see fight?
So no, fuck that. I want to see Armin, and then maybe even a Charles Oliveira. And I know he lost. I know that, right? But I feel like those two fights. Now we talking. Okay, buddy, go ahead, move up, right? Because now you didn't fought, okay, that'd be 4 different titles. I'm not, not even counting them other 2 against Alexander Volkanovski. But those other 2, beating Armin and Charles Oliveira, I feel like right there, that will cement you at the lightweight, right? You said he got the most right now?
I think he got 4.
He got 4. So he need 1 more to get the most?
No, I think...
Because Khabib got 4, don't he? Or he got 3?
I think he has 3.
All right.
BJ Penn.
But still, them names was crazy, though.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor, Justin Gaethje, and who else I'm missing?
Conor was for the belt.
Yes, sir.
Was for the belt.
No,
right?
It wasn't for the belt.
No, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So Conor was a defense.
Conor.
Justin Gaethje.
And
Who we missing?
And Dustin Poirier.
And Dustin Poirier. Them names crazy, right? So shout out to Habib. Even though your brother then surpassed you in the numbers, the resume still don't match. He only got one name that matters, which is Dustin Poirier. So you still got some, you know what I'm saying? Some philosopher stones to catch. You know what I'm
saying? I feel like if Habib wanted to move up, they would have let him move up. Especially when
that time.
Especially when he said he would retire.
I would say this: Habib is a very intelligent fighter, and he knew moving up. Right now, his brother Islam. I'm just look. We gonna keep look. We gonna pause that. Right. I just feel like him fighting Charles Oliveira and him fighting Arman, you have the right to move up now. You know, You have all the right in the world to move up.
So you don't want to see it regardless. Okay, I would like.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it right now. It's more because of Topuria. I think he has challengers that make total sense for him to fight. He hasn't really cleared out his division. He has looked fantastic in his fights leading up to it. But what's my guy name? Mosar Ivoyev.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to see that fight. I think that fight makes the most sense. Next, we'll see what happens. But that's why I don't want to see the fight. And I think him moving up would be a tough matchup for him with Islam's skill set. Obviously, the hands, the power, but that grappling is still gonna be difficult to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Islam is really big for 155. I think Topuria is a big 45. But when you get guys with that size difference, the grappling, it just tends to favor the guy who's really good, who's big, over the guy who's really good, who's small.
Mm-hmm.
And that's.
I don't want to see that shit, bro. I don't want to see that shit.
Speaking of another lightweight fight, Dustin Poirier said, I think he mentioned he might be retiring. He wants one more. And he said he wants a legend. I forget, maybe it was MMA Hour, but he said he didn't want to fight somebody like Paddy Pimblett.
Mm-hmm.
Nate Diaz chimes in. I don't know if you saw this interaction.
No.
And told him that Paddy's better than him anywhere, and he should fight Paddy. And then Paddy chimes in and agrees and says Nate's a real one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like Dustin Poirier should have to fight somebody who is not a legend? He wants a legend. Do you feel like for his last fight he should bless somebody, give him the opportunity, or has he done enough where he should fight somebody who's a marquee, big-name legend?
So I'm always about the younger guy, the contender, moving up the rank, right? And fight a name, make you a name, all the other stuff. But if Dustin Poirier wants to fight the legend or fight another big fight, my personal opinion is get your bitch ass out the ranking. No. I'm tired of these old motherfuckers. Like, look, if you don't want to fight, we got to talk some real shit now, bro. Like, if you guys are so fearful of fighting the next hungry guy, right? Then get out of the rankings because it's not going to affect your money, right? It's not going to affect, your position, right, or how much you get paid. So with that being said, then why are you holding up that number one spot, right? So I don't know what Dustin is. It Dustin number 3, number 4. I can't really remember. But that spot can be used for a guy that's working his way up to get to a title. So don't tell me if you're number 4, number 5 in the world that, you don't want to fight this person that's coming up. You want to just fight a big name that ain't even ranked them. They got damn self, right? Then take your punk ass out the ranking, right, and let us young soldiers move up.
But hey, to Dustin's credit, he fought Benoit.
I ain't trying to hear that shit. Get your ass out the ranking if you want to just make the big fights. That's all.
I get it. He fought Benoit Saint Denis.
Yes, sir. And then what happened?
He beat Benoit.
I know. I said then what happened? He fought for the belt.
He did.
Got his ass whooped. If you want to retire your ass out the ring.
But my point, well, why Paddy though? I don't think that fight necessarily makes the most sense.
For me, I don't care about whether Paddy or not. Yeah, I don't. My thing is, I do agree that if guys want to just have these big fights, you know who we talking about for real. But if these guys want to have these big, massive, big name fights, then you shouldn't be allowed to be in the rankings because it wouldn't make sense in the first place, right? Who else is another big, massive name in the lightweight division, right? Who else?
The same guys he already fought. I get it.
So but I don't think he wants to fight those.
No,
guys.
And I want to see it anyway.
So he's talking about a Kobe Covington. He's talking about.
I think that fight makes sense for both of them, actually.
That's cool, but take your ass. No, both of them motherfuckers.
So he can't retire with his ranking?
Huh?
He can't retire with his little ranking?
Hell no. Because in my personal opinion, you fight the ranked guy.
I get it.
That's it. Because at the end of the day, that ranking is holding up another position for a guy that can move up. That's all that means, right? So if you want that big name fight, I'm not mad at you. Go get your money, fam. But take your ass out the ranking because that's not we already saying it's gonna be your last fight, right? So why you got to be ranked to do it?
I get your point.
You get my point, my ass, nigga. That's the truth, nigga.
No, I feel you.
Eat.
No, I feel you. I just think that Patty isn't necessarily the best example in this case.
That's no.
If
That's
I'm
the
like,
whole.
Yeah,
that's
no. I get it.
I agree with him saying that he want to fight for a big check, big fight.
Legend,
Who do that? That's what he said, though, right?
Yeah. He said he want to fight a legend. That's what
a legend. Okay, that's cool. Whoever that legend might be, but that legend, I bet you not ranked, right? I bet you that legend ain't because who? If we talking about 155, who is that legend? Or are we pulling somebody out of the goddamn?
I think he maybe
out of the organization.
No, I think.
Who did you think he talking about?
No. I think he would. The only guys I see him fighting at 55 are like Oliveira, which he fought already, Max Holloway, which he fought already, Gagey, which he fought already.
Let's say
Islam, which he fought already. I think he would just want to fight a big name guy. Patty, as famous as he is, he's not really quite of their ilk.
Right. But I agree.
As far as established,
not even about Patty beating him. I'm just talking about on these guys that want to fight these big names. You ain't got to be ranked to do that.
I agree. No, I feel you.
Yeah, cool. I'm gonna talk that shit, man. Fuck that. Now we about to turn up.
So we mentioned the last video. You spoke about it briefly.
Yeah.
But Francis Ngannou spoke about wanting to box Deontay Wilder. He said he feels like he has just more power, and it would be a good fight. Would you be interested in that fight? Go ahead. Would you be interested in something like that?
Now, you already know my take on this. I want all MMA guys to stay away from boxing, right? And at first, Francis Ngannou made me a believer, right? When he fought Tyson Fury. But unfortunately, when he fought Anthony Joshua, we seen, what happened, right? When we see Jake Paul taking out all our guys in MMA from, Tyron Woodley to Diaz to, Anderson Silva, all these guys. I really feel like there's not a place for a lot of MMA guys in boxing. And even with Deontay Wilder not being like the best fluent or, technical boxer, he's still a boxer, And with Francis Ngannou, he said he just want to see who hit harder. I love Francis, but I don't think he want that, man, right? Because at the end of the day, you already got highlighted by Anthony Joshua. It'd be no different. But I know he gonna wake up from that concussion and get a big bag, and that's why he gonna have a big smile on his face. But other than that, I think it's no reason for Francis Ngannou to go out there and box Deontay Wilder. I think him sticking to his guns, him being a PFL champion, him going out there and submitting his name as a mixed martial arts heavyweight champion, that's what I want to see, right? I don't want to see my man get spunked around again. I'm going to cry.
I feel you. I have a different take on it. I don't think PFL really has anybody to offer him, and it takes a lot of money to pay Francis in PFL, and I don't know who they could put against him where they can make that type of revenue to really give him the payday that he wants. I think the boxing fights is kind of the supplemental income that he kind of needs, to be quite honest, because they're going to have to wait some time to give him another fight. They had the Brazilian dude he fought, I don't know his name.
Yeah, easy check.
But I thought it was going to be a tough fight. They marketed that shit hella good.
Oh, yeah.
That dude do a backflip. Shit that he relate to MMA or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess my overall point is I think if there's one boxer for him to box that makes the world of sense, it's Deontay Wilder.
All right, go ahead. Break it down, baby.
Because Deontay Wilder seems to have a style that would leave him open. It's not that Francis is necessarily the most proficient or technical striker, but neither is Deontay.
Mm-hmm.
Is he more technical than Francis? Probably, but he doesn't fight that way. Especially some of the new techniques I saw him working on. the 360 shuffle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nah, I remember, yeah. 100%.
I think if it's one person for him to box, you say Usyk, no. You say, obviously we saw what happened with Anthony Joshua. I think there's plenty of guys who would give him a lot of trouble. But the one guy who I would like to actually see him box,
Deontay Wilder.
I think it's perfect.
I
I do think both of them will want to prove who hits harder. I think it would be a strictly egotistical match.
It would be, bro. Look,
I say 50-50.
I don't think, no.
No, not power. I think, what did he say? He did ayahuasca or something?
Who did ayahuasca?
Deontay Wilder. He said he took some shrooms or ayahuasca, and he said he didn't know if he want to fight or something. He said something like he had some deep spiritual journey.
Okay.
I think
you think it's the right time.
If you, for instance, got it, it's the perfect time.
Okay, I got you. So I don't know, because that does matter. That does put a big, like, just where the mentality is at. the work ethic, like all that. Like people would be acting like that don't play a part. That plays a great
You
part.
saw
Right?
that change.
Right. You fool.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah. So with that being said, it's just like the way you go about your career is very important, right? So if Francis is really putting in that thug work, man, and which I know he is, right, when it comes to the boxing game, and really like not even trying to tighten things up. I'm not even gonna say that, but like just really focusing on boxing itself, right? And then you have a person like Deontay Wilder. Is he just coming back because he need that bread, right? Because you've seen Deontay Wilder, he on a losing streak now, right? I think it's 3 fights now, and he been knocked out in all 3, right? So that messes with a lot of guys' head, you know. And looking at just how Deontay is, a very emotional guy, right? A very, like you see that some things don't motivate him. Like it kind of put him, like them losses he wasn't able to get. He went from undefeated, knocking everybody out, and the one loss that he ended up taking, bro, like it shut him down. So that's all I'm saying.
I get it.
Not a very mentally strong individual. we're just gonna kind of keep it a buck, man. We're just gonna speak the truth. So with that being said, okay, now that you're saying that, him taking mushrooms and going to the sunken place or whatever he was at,
whatever he said something like that.
I can see that now. But I'm gonna just go with this, and I'm gonna just say it now. All MMA guys should stay away from boxing, and I'm gonna give it to Deontay Wilder.
And there you have it. I say 50 flip a coin.
Yeah.
If you want a 50-50 eye, go ahead and put it on your boy Francis Ngannou.
100%.
Khamzat recently said he'd offer any training partner 1 million rubles.
What the fuck is that?
That's the equivalent to about 11,000 US dollars.
Boy, he got more money than that, man.
If someone can submit him in training. What do you think about the statement? Do you feel like his grappler's on par? You've trained with some really amazing grapplers, going down to Austin, Texas with the B team. Do you feel like that statement rings true for Khamzat?
Well, before we get started, how much to knock his ass out?
You gotta ask that, man. I can DM him, but
because I ain't really worried about the grappling part. But regardless, though, you got a lot of high level grapplers out there that's all they do. So if you really putting up this a little 11,000, whatever, then why not take that challenge, right? If you're a Nicky Rod, if you're a Hyson Rita, if you Craig Jones, right? Like if you somebody like that, why not take that little money, right, and then go viral for it and see what happens. But, for him doing that, I feel like with the camp that he's with or whatever guys he's training with, he doesn't have high-level guys that he's working with that really kind of put him in bad position. So he has to go out and like award guys that are at a high level to bring them in. But that little 1 million rubies, whatever the hell that rubles.
Rubles, that's what I read.
I think he need. I think he need to go ahead increase that a little bit. Mm-hmm.
I don't know about foreign currency like that. That's what I read, but wrapping it up, your guy Darren Till will be fighting Darren Stewart, a name we have not heard in a while.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts, views, opinion about that boxing? Are you interested to see 2 MMA guys box?
That's the only one that makes the most sense, bro. With that being said, man, I ain't seen the dentist in a minute, so that's cool for him, man, to be able to come back out and fighting a big name like Darren Till. Never heard of the promotion, Misfits, whatever. But hey, dude's getting paid, man. People making money, so I think it makes more sense when 2 MMA guys box. Right now, is it pleasing to the eye? Hell no. But
words out my mouth. They make us look bad. You see why we do MMA, why they do boxing.
100%.
Yeah,
You
don't look nothing like boxing. It'd be 2 guys who could box in the UFC
mm-hmm.
or whatever MMA promotion.
And they still.
And I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a good boxing match.
Mm-hmm.
They're always trash.
Yep.
Never good.
Yep, 100%.
But Darren Till comes from a kickboxing background. I think Darren Stewart might come from a striking background. Both are. Well, I know Darren Till is a younger guy. A lot of times when we get these matchups, guys are kind of past their prime, a little older. So maybe this one will be a little bit more smooth and crisp. And
not with the combinations, I'll tell you that. But I feel like for real, Darren Till should be able to get this one though. Like Darren Stewart, like if I can remember correctly, was never clean on the feet. Heavy power though, big hands, big winging shots, but never really crisp with the hands. But you see Darren Till, even though he keep that chin up very high, right? His combinations very straight punches and everything of that nature, right? Too. Fast hands, so it should be good money for Darren Till, but you never know because like I said, I ain't seen the dentist in a minute, so. That'd be cool. But speaking of that, like since we talking about it, right? You got Rampage versus Rashad. You know what I mean? 2 OGs. You know, in the building. How you feel like that fight gonna go? Now that they boxing, so they finna do a boxing match pretty soon. How you think that's gonna go?
Man, I just hope everybody makes it home safe. That's what I'm rooting for.
Somebody gonna pull something here.
Man, I just feel like in these type of matchups, the winner is both of them because they're getting paid, and it's them kind of reliving the glory days for a little bit. But obviously, I don't necessarily have the huge want to watch it. I am big fans of Rashad and Rampage. I remember the season of Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
I remember when Rashad won the Ultimate Fighter. I remember when Rampage came over from Pride to come over, and he knocked out Chuck Liddell. So big fan of both guys. But I just hope nobody gets too hurt, nobody gets too harmed. What about yourself?
It should be fun to watch, right? Rashad looking good, looking in shape. Rampage, the same thing, right? You see, he said he's highly motivated now with the whole situation that happened on his podcast, right? And Anthony Smith talking some good shit. So he said he's ready to slap somebody up. So with all that being said, I think it should be fun to watch. But I just know that I can't expect like something crazy, right? I'm not finna watch this boxing match between both of them and be like, ooh, man, I need to study up on this, right? I just know that both of these guys, man, not only are they just trying to get paid, but live the old days out, right? Rampage, like I said, it's been 15 years or something since they had last fought, right? And when they were both in their prime, but regardless of that, they get to come back now and really, really live out that moment that they had 15 years ago.
No, definitely. And, one of the things, they both are real fighters. I say that 100%.
Of course.
So for me, it's not the fact that I don't think they're going to fight for real just there to get a check. What I mean is it's just Father Time is undefeated. Hitting the pads is a little different than actually, getting a fight in boxing. Sparring's a little different than actually boxing somebody. And I just hope that they I just curve my expectations when I go into these type of matchups,
Of course.
be realistic. Because sometimes for a lot of the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fans, they thought they was getting vintage 1985 Mike Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they thought they were getting.
Mm-hmm.
They thought Mike Tyson was back in the day.
Right.
They
were looking up old highlights.
They saw him hitting past with Rafael Cordero, and they thought they were gonna get.
I mean, even oh man, I ain't trying to be funny, but dude from King and Queens, what's my man's name? You know what I'm talking about? But he was looking nice in Here Comes the Boom, bro. Like, he was on the bit, but put my man in the real fight, bro. Like, it's not gonna look the same. You know what I'm saying? So everybody can look like a master on the mitts, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, it's like you actually going out there and you actually competing, man. Like it's a reason why people retire at a certain age. That's it.
I agree. That's the funniest shit I heard all week.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Let's go.
Thank you for watching another episode of Brick Brothers Podcast. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe. Be a brick.